Twisted genius. Dream life beast. What if I never made it to the top? What if that meant that I was never meant to rock? Would it be the reason that it finally make me stop? Or make me go hard and give it everything I got? Made a promise to them all, I'ma push it till I drop. If it's in the Lord's will, I bring it back to the block. I ain't made it through the door, but I put cracks in the lock. While my way from on the bottom, now I'm headed for the top. It's Machiavelli.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my world. Make sure y'all hit the subscribe button, hit the notification so you know when I'm coming and how I'm coming. So I said in another video that I was just checking out a lot of videos that was popping up on my feed, and I'm always researching, I'm always looking up things. And another interesting story that I saw that was pretty monumental, to say the least, that actually occurred in another country as well, was in regards to a parent who was actually arrested for misgendering his child. So I thought that was interesting, and I thought that was something that definitely needs to be talked about and discussed, because now it's definitely rights being affected by it. So, father arrested for discussing child's gender transition in defiance of court order. So that's the father right there. A Canadian man was arrested this week after violating a court order that banned him from speaking publicly about his son's gender transition. So let's get into it. A Canadian man was arrested this week after violating a court order that banned him from speaking publicly about his son's gender transition. The man, whose identity is reportedly under a publication ban by a British Columbia Court of Appeals to protect his child, was found in contempt of court and arrested Tuesday for calling the teen his daughter and publicly referring to him with the pronouns she and her, according to the Post Millennium. The teenager was born as a female and reportedly identifies as transgender and prefers the use of male pronouns. The father reportedly began litigation against the teen's mother after learning of the transition, and the matter was settled by the province's highest court earlier this year. According to Global News, the parents are separated. So this is interesting because now these types of things that are becoming normalized, like kids being able to change their gender and, you know, take hormone therapy and identify as a different gender, is now becoming something that is being basically promoted to kids who feel that they might like the other gender or have a liking to the other gender. The problem with that is that, you know, when you promote these types of things to kids with such undeveloped mind states, you know, like you got a kid at 12 and 11 telling you that they want to identify as another gender, and they want to go through hormone therapy and things like that. You know, that kid is basically going off something they've seen or heard of that is popular to do now. You know what I'm saying? Years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, it was not. Definitely when I was growing up, it wasn't something that was in the news. It wasn't something that was promoted to kids. It wasn't something that was common. You know what I'm saying? And in my opinion, you know, people are going to be people, and you're going to have people that are born with these feelings and are born different than what's considered the norm, right? But there's also a way that we've been taught as individuals. There's a way that your parents have been taught and raised as individuals, and to go against that because you now have seen something that's become common in society but goes against the wishes and values of your family, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? We even you know, and when you watch certain TV shows and people go against the family, like certain things that the family are built on, and they tell them we'll kick you out the family for this, we'll violate you for this. It's now become illegal for the family to act if they don't agree with how the child feels. And that's dangerous because, like I stated, you have a child with a very young mind that's undeveloped. Let's say this child sees this and isn't fully 100% certain that they want to go this direction. Say in a couple years they meet an individual, they meet somebody that totally makes them change their mind about being this way. You know, I don't know how the feelings are. I don't know exactly, you know, what people are feeling, but you know, to say the least, I've seen for my own, I've experienced and seen in my own life where I've known people to live this lifestyle for years and be all the way in it, neck deep, and then turn around and say, you know, this was a mistake. I shouldn't have been living life like this. This was not supposed to happen. You know, I supposed to be playing a certain role in life, and I was totally going against that. I've seen women, you know, turn their lives around. In entertainment, I've seen men turn their lives around where they live gay lifestyles, and then they decided to that wasn't the best choice. I've seen women live that lifestyle for years, engage in all the types of things that the lifestyle comes with, and then up and realize one day, I wasn't supposed to be doing this. So to take a 12-year-old and let them make such a permanent decision is absurd. And then you got court supporting it. That's where it gets dangerous. And then it also creates, I'm not sure if they had other issues going on in the household, but that definitely creates separation in the household. If you got a father and a mother that isn't agreeing on this, you know what I'm saying? Your wife comes to you one day and says your 12-year-old daughter that you've looked at as your daughter all these years doesn't feel like she's your daughter. She feels like she's more of your son, and she wants to take hormone therapy pills, and you're not in agreement with this, then that's going to definitely create separation in the household if it wasn't any issues going on prior. You know what I'm saying? Or it's going to make things worse because now you have two parents going at each other and who should be supporting what, right? Because y'all didn't agree on those type of values, or you didn't, I take that back, you didn't agree or have the conversation brought up about this, or with whether this was ever possible. This is something I was having a conversation with somebody the other night, and I realized, you know, it's because of our views on the LGBT society, we probably wouldn't make the best fit because it's ways I feel about things when it comes to kids that, you know, she totally wasn't in agreement with, right? And if I was ever in a situation where I had a child in my, you know, I whoever I'm with, whoever I may be with at the time, whatever female, look, I'm going to tell you now, don't ever come to me and suggest anything. That isn't how I was raised. That isn't how I was brought up. That I'm not to that point in life where that's something that I can accept freely and openly like that, where, you know, a child that young wants to do something like that. It'll be hard if the child is grown, but I think they should at least be grown, right? Like once you're an adult, once you're 18, you can live on your own, then you should be able to make your own decisions on how you want to live your life. But before that, you know, it's the court makes sure that you're in a home with good parents so they can have your best interests. So if your parents say that it's not in your best interest to want to make such a permanent change to yourself, then how are they going to go back on what they said was done for the child's best interest? The parents should know best. But then you got things going on nowadays where, like I said, here comes the separation, because now you got a father who's thinking he knows best and he don't want it that way. And you got a wife who thinks she knows best and she has no problem with supporting it. And then you got a child who's looking at it like, well, I got my mother supporting it, The courts say I can do it. You know, and they're just thinking like, oh well, this is just going to be something that they make them do, and they're going to make them do what I say. They don't think so deep into it. They even said that, you know, I guess he was in custody. The little girl was in custody with her father, and they had removed her from custody because he didn't want to agree to call her a boy. So the child's probably not thinking that deep into it. It's a reason you weren't staying with your mom in the beginning. You know, now you have to go that route because she's the one that's supporting what you're doing. And they just snatch you out the home. Now your father is locked up and he's facing charges. So the high court ordered the dad to not stand in the way of the 15-year-old's hormone therapy and to try and better understand gender dysphoria, the outlet reported. He was also told to stop speaking to the media about the case and warned that his public attempts to undermine his child's wishes was a form of family violence, according to the article. Now here come the buzzwords. It's a form of family violence. Now they had to create something to be able to charge you with a crime. His son has identified as male since the age of 11 and changed his name at the age of 12 before pursuing hormone therapy with the support of his mother, a psychologist and an endocrinologist, according to the Canadian law firm Torkin Mains. So, you mean to tell me you got a psychologist, you got an endocrinologist, you got people with degrees that are going to agree that this child is fully capable of making these types of decisions? They're going to 100% be in agreement with this type. Like, the father's refusal to respect the boy's decisions regarding his gender identity is troublesome. Chief Justice Robert Bowman and Justice Barbara Fisher wrote in the January decision, according to Global News. The father's rejection of his son's identity has caused the boy significant pain that has resulted in rupture of what both parties refer to as an otherwise loving parent-child relationship, justices reportedly wrote. The rupture is not the boy's best interest, the decision said. According to the outlet, he clearly wants and needs acceptance and support from his father. So now the child is torn because they're wanting the father to accept this because they obviously love their father. But because these things have been normalized, they think this is more normal than their father not wanting you to do it. The father is looked at as the outcast at this point because he wants you to be normal. But because you've had this idea perpetuated by society and the internet and everything, that's considered your normal now. That's what the norm is. It's okay, Dad. We need to go with this. Mom supports it. Why haven't you got on board? Everyone's normal but you. So what's been normal for all these years has now become taboo, and the minority has become the majority. The father confirmed his legal woes on an online fundraising campaign soliciting donations. The far left issued an arrest warrant on Thursday, March 4th. I will be turning myself in on March 16th. The man posted in a Go Get funding page where he has raised more than 22,000 Canadian amid his legal fight. I am fighting the far left based on a civil disobedience defense. I am now back in court for a 5-day criminal trial that will last at least 5 days. From April 12th through the 16th, that trial that could land me in jail for up to 5 years for speaking truth about state-sponsored child abuse. Think about that. State-sponsored child abuse. It's even states over here that have banned it and considered it state-sponsored child abuse. So this is something that some municipalities and government territories view as something that should be illegal. So this is definitely something that happened in Canada. I am blocked from sharing any videos at this time that oppose the sterilization of children. The caption continued. And think about that. You're permanently sterilizing the child. You're permanently changing them into another gender. You let them identify and start to take medication to change and push this idea from the age of 12. It says, this stuff be having me speechless, man. The dad and this arrest have been lauded by some ideologues who say gender is not a biological or social construct. They've created the delusion and they're forcing parents to live in this delusion, the father previously said, according to the Post-Millennial. What happens when the bubble explodes and the delusion ends? She can never go back to being a girl in the healthy body she would have had. These kids don't understand what kind of 13-year-old is thinking about having a family and kids. Exactly. Exactly my point. That's what I said. 12 and 13-year-old mind state, you're not thinking about, like, you just not 15-year-old. You're not thinking responsibly enough. When I was 15, I was a full-blown kid making 15-year-old decisions. When I was 15, I was a totally different person. I believed in completely different things. Politics, don't even get me started. So at that age to have made a decision like that would have been crazy. That'd have tore my mother apart. That's for people to, like, they don't, I guess it's no room for what the parents are thinking now. You know what I'm saying? No room for how they are feeling. If you see it on TV and they say you can do it legally, then forget what your parents think or say or do. That's the message that they're putting out here. We got to protect these kids, man. We definitely have to protect these kids from things like this. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Like, comment, subscribe. Till the next time. Keep it twisted. I'm out.